Airbnb boasted fourth quarter results that beat expectations on the top and bottom line as travel bookings rebounded. Let's get a closer look on where Airbnb hosts and managers see the current state of the market. We're joined by Yahoo Finance's Dani Romero, who has the latest. So, Dani, what are these groups saying?
To summarize in one line, the market is oversaturated. And that's what we've been hearing, what I've been hearing from multiple Airbnb hosts as well as managers in most recent months. And a specific example that really stood out to me from an Airbnb manager who manages over 95 short-term rental units in Arizona. He said that just days before the Super Bowl even happened, he had 50% of his inventory booked. And by midday Saturday, that changed to 90%. But in order for that to happen, he had to cut his prices by about 50%. So the going rate was about $450 to $600. And he said usually when there are these special events, the going rate is over $1,000. So definitely a big pay cut for him there. But overall, his bookings for this month and next month are 50% filled. But I will say that there is another debate on the table when it comes to Airbnb, and that is that Airbnb has made a lot of changes to their platform. Some argue that it's more leveraged towards these, boutique/unique listings, which hinder the so-called man-working listings. And, there's even a category called OMG. And so I spoke with an Airbnb host that has this OMG factor to her listing, and she said that she's dealing with the same issue. She's had to cut her prices in order to get people through the door. And so the impact is there. And we also heard on the earnings call that active listings grew 16%. And we also have to take into account that, there's also hotel inventory on the market as well. So the competition is fierce. And according to data from AirDNA, occupancy levels have fallen and listing growth is outpacing demand. And so, obviously in December, that gap a little bit shrank, but overall, travel demand is there, just people have a lot more choices to choose from, Rochelle.
I mean, you figure if you can't fill rooms at full price during the Super Bowl, when can you? But let's also talk about states and municipalities. Can regulation by either adding pressure to the short-term rental market?
Yeah, that is, one form that could add pressure to the short-term rental market. I mean, we saw it in Palm Springs, California. Officials there passed legislation to restrict short-term rental units in specific neighborhoods. So that could impact, obviously the short-term rental market and active listing growth too in those certain areas. But you have to remember, Airbnb has about 60% of its exposure internationally. Rochelle?
Certainly important to keep that in mind when you think of things like currency strength as well. Yahoo Finance's Dani Romero, thanks so much.